All right, so assignment 2 of your email advertisement project, we'll say, is to basically take kind of what you've already made and make it responsive. Now, if you want to kind of almost completely scrap what you already made and then just start fresh, I don't have a problem with that either. Honestly, you might even want to do that just to make it a little bit easier to work with, because depending on what you had before, it may or may not be helpful for what you're doing now. Okay, so mine's probably not going to look like this. I'm actually just going to kind of wing it here. But basically, you're going to continue on with the web design, but this time we're going to do a responsive layout. And if you remember, you should have watched this lecture here. Here, we're basically just going to be doing what this is. So quite honestly, you don't even really need to do this tutorial. You can just go ahead and if you feel comfortable enough, you can kind of just look at this stuff and use that as your guide. That's more or less what I'm going to be doing. So if you want to kind of maybe even skip this video and just start working, that's fine. But if you need a little bit more tutorial, you can follow this along. Okay, so just be aware this is basically what we're doing. Alrighty, so first things first, what I want to do is this. So I'm going to get this up, but I'm actually going to go ahead and make a new folder for our site. All right, so where is it? Okay, we're going to call this responsive example. That's just the name of mine. You should name yours whatever yours is. So here it is right here. And inside of this, I'm going to need to make a couple of folders. So we'll do an images folder, do another new folder, and we'll call it CSS. And we'll do another folder, and we'll call it JS. Okay, so we have all of our folders that we need. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is take my pictures. I already know what I need, but if you don't have your pictures quite yet, don't worry about it. But you should probably find some. Command C, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste it in there. So now I got my pictures. So I got my thing all set up here. And now I just need to actually make my website. Okay, so we'll do a new file, new file if you want to do it that way, or Command N. And first thing we're going to do is just go ahead and do the usual doc type, if I could spell, DOCTYPE, HTML, right? And then we'll just go ahead and do HTML. And HTML, and just so I get more of an assist, I'm gonna go ahead and save this. So I'll hit Command Shift S or Control Shift S, or just do File Save As, and I'm gonna save it right onto the desktop underneath that example, responsive example, and we are gonna name it index.html. Boom, there it is. Okay, and if you remember, we need to put a head in there. Head. That looks great, and we also need a body, right? Because cannot live on a head alone. All right, so good. We're gonna need a title, and for mine, I'm doing an advertisement for this class basically. So we're just gonna do title, boom, and we're just gonna do web design 2. I guess that's what we're going to call it. And then the other thing we're going to need is we need to have the thing that's going to basically set up the viewport so that our stuff can actually respond to the size of it. And that's actually a meta we have to put in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a meta. Meta. And the name of the meta we're going to be making is going to be I always do it wrong. Viewport. And to the viewport, the content of that attribute that we made is going to be the width equals device dash width. Okay, so width equals device dash width. Oops. And also, we're going to set up the initial scale, initial hyphen scale. And we're going to set that equal to basically 1. So it's set up to where it's supposed to be. And boom, there's the meta. Okay. Yay. All right, so next thing we're going to do is set up our CSS. So I could do this inside of here, or I could do it as a style sheet that we're linking in. And because it's going to be kind of a lot of it, I'm actually going to go, well, see, this is a one sheet though. So we could go either way. I could actually write it in here, or I could write it outside of it. Just to get us used to it, I'm going to go ahead and link it instead. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to make another file. So I'm going to hit Command N or Control N. And yeah, so this will be our CSS. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and save this, Command-Shift-S or Control-Shift-S or File Save As. And I'm going to go into the CSS folder, and we're going to name it style.css. All right, and so now this is our style sheet. And here I'm going to go ahead and make a link to it. So we're going to go ahead and do link, and the relationship is complicated. Is going to be a style sheet, right? Yeah, style sheet, and the type that it is a text/CSS, and the location of it, the horizontal reference, is going to be CSS because that's the folder that we made, and I called it style.css. And then we can just go ahead and close that, and we'll save that. Good. And so now our CSS will go in there. Now, before I bother even hooking that up, let's put some, let's get some, you know, info in here so that it looks all nice. All right, so I'm thinking usually the thing you always want to do is a heading, right? So we'll do an H1, and I'm just going to do web design 2. And then underneath that, we'll do like almost like a subtitle, and I will do, let's say, an H3. You know you love it. Okay, good. So we'll say like that, and then we'll just do some subtitles. So I'm just going to do an H2. Why should you take this class? All right, just like a bad essay, I'm going to make sure that I put questions for all my thing. Now I'm actually going to use Lorem Ipsum, so let's bring this back over here. So all we got to do is, I think it's lipsum.com, I believe. Yeah, lipsum.com. So just because I don't feel like writing out a bunch of stuff, you should write out stuff though, but I don't want you to have to watch me write stuff out. Boom, and you can see it's doing that, which is super annoying because it just goes all the way across, which sometimes is good. This time it's not. So I'm going to go View, and we're going to toggle word wrap. That makes it a little bit easier. Muy bueno. I'm just going to take this section here, Command C, enter, enter, Command V, and when is it available? Okay. And we're going to call that good as far as that stuff. Now, the other things I want to do are add some backgrounds and some other things. So I would like to do some pictures. So I'm thinking even before the web design, maybe on the side of it, we'll put an image. So I already have my images over there. So I can go image, src, and it would be underneath images, / and I don't remember where the name of it is. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to look for that folder. So responsive example, and then it's my images folder, and this one, we're just going to do cone logo large. And I'm just going to I'm going to copy this. So I'm just going to copy the whole thing, Command C or Control C, depending on what you're using. All right, and where are we here? There we go, boom, and so here, Command V. So it's images. Obviously yours will be different. Boom, like that. Okay, so we got that picture in there. Let's go ahead and save this and see what it looks like so far. So boop, boop, doop, doo. Let's go back over here and let's see. Yay. Okay, it's there. All right, and we'll get rid of that. I don't need that anymore. I also wanted to add a background image. So what I'm going to do is that you need to use the whatchamacallit there, the CSS. So what we're going to do is we're just going to attach it to the body. So I can do my selector body. So now I selected my style here. Oops, not that one. There it goes. Okay, we select the body, and then I'm just going to do a background hyphen image. Great, and it's going to be a URL, Uniform Resource Locator, and it's going to be images / and again I don't remember what it was, so let's just go to images, and it's background image 2 is what I'm going to use. No, yeah, we're going to use this one. So I'm just going to, again, Command A, Command C, copy that, and paste that right in there. And let me see, that should probably be good. So I'm going to hit Command S or File, Save. Make sure I hear Command S as well. And hopefully if we were to view it again, let's see, let's double click. And you can see it didn't work. Great. Okay, body, background image, URL. Stuff's always really weird. Let me see, style sheet, text, CSS, horizontal style. Let me try this real quick. I'm going to do background. Well, I'm going to pause it, figure out what it is, and then we'll come back. All right, so it appears that my image, I had wrote the extension .png, but I did not write, but it was actually a PSD. I didn't actually export it out as a PNG, so that's why that was not working. But now if I save it, and you can see there it is. Okay, so where are we at? Where's that stupid thing? Come back here. There it is. Okay, let's press this a little so I can. Okay, so we've now got the content in here. Oops, don't mind this. We've now got the content in there. So now what we need to do is add our code in order to make our thing work in columns and what have you. Okay, so I'm going to do it in my style tab here. So I guess we'll just do it right after this. And right off the bat, what I want to do is set the box sizing. So I'm just going to do this to every element. So I do an asterisk. Okay, and then it's just going to be box size. Oops, not sizing. Box sizing. And it's going to be border box. Okay, boom, and oops, like that. Now the whole reason for this is basically so that the border will go past so let's say something is, let's say we have two columns and they're both 50%. So if it's 50 and 50, if I put a border on that, it will actually be on 50 and it'll shove the other one down. So this way it makes sure that everything fits inwards from that. So it's all within that size. Okay. All right. The other thing I want to do is set up columns for when it's the smallest. So it's just going to be .col -1-s. Okay. So column 1, so a 1 column, and when it's small. And I got to do this for all of them. So .col -2-s, and then comma dot. So I'm making a class for each one of them. col-3-s, so on and so forth. And I'm going to pause the video and finish it. Okay, so we have the 12 columns, and then on that I'm just going to do width, and it's just going to be 100%. Okay, so basically what this is going to do is it's going to say that by default all the columns are just going to be 100%. Like that's typical of what you're going to expect them to be. All right. Let's see. All right. So the next thing I'm going to need to put in here are rows, right? So we have columns and then rows. So I'm going to do row, and then we're going to do boom boom and after. Okay. Oops, got to be .row. .row. So we're going to make a row class, and what we're going to do is we're going to say after the end of each row class, we're going to go ahead and the content, I'm just going to do two quotes like this. And the reason for that is that basically it'll remove any content, make it nothing. And we're going to do clear. So we're going to be using floats on all of our classes, on all our columns, which means that they will stack next to each other. What clear will do after an end of a row, it'll be like telling it to start on a new line. Okay, so we're going to clear on both sides. Clear both, and then we're going to do display, and we're going to set up table. Okay, great, and let's delete that. All right, great. So now we got a row. The next thing I want to do is we're going to get back there. We are going to go ahead and to all classes, instead of having to write this on every one of them, we're going to do class times equals anything that starts like this. So it's going to grab all classes that have col dash. Okay, and we're going to say we want that to float, and we want to float left. All right, Now, that means it'll apply to this, and when we make our subsequent columns and rows, it'll also apply to those. All right. Yay. Okay. So I think that's roughly what I need so far. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and throw my stuff into rows and columns just to start with here. So this top thing, I would say that this image and this heading should probably be a row. You know, I think we'll do this whole chunk. This will be like my heading, and we'll call that a row. So what I'm going to do is do a div class row, and it's automatically going to give me the NP. So I'm just going to take this middle mouse button, click and drag. Oops, come on. Tab, tab. And then we're going to take these and tab this in so that these are basically inside of this row, and this will be another row. So I'm just going to copy this, Command C and Command V. Oops, that did not go quite where I was hoping it would. I wonder if I can, nope, okay. And Command V. That's weird, it didn't try to, okay. And oops, div. Okay, it automatically closed it. All right. So this has got a tab. This has got a tab. This has got a tab. Okay. And it's got tab more. Tab. Okay. So this, and then we need to take this and tab this one in. Oops. Take this and tab that in. Tab that in. Let's go view, wrap. Okay. Tab that guy in, tab that guy in. So another, okay. And that's a row, and a row. So now what we need to do is set these up as columns inside of these rows. So each one of these is going to be rows. So I'm going to go all the way across for each of these chunks. So there's basically going to be three areas, if you will, three sections. So inside of here, I'm going to make another div class, and we're going to set this one to column dash s dash, and then I need to choose on how wide I want this to be. So we'll just say it isn't going to, I think, affect it right yet, but it will eventually. So we'll say that this should probably be let's just go 6 for now. I probably might change that later. Okay, and I'm just going to cut this, Command X, and we're going to put that into the image here, and I'm going to grab this and tab that in. Okay, and let's see, tab, and we will tab that in. Okay, so we got this. There's one column. Now let's do the other column. So div, well, we'll just copy and paste this. Command C, Command V, right? And then we need to tab these guys in, tab, tab, and then we need to close our div. There we go. Boom. So looks good. Those are both inside a row. I'm going to enter, so you can clearly see that this is one chunk. There we go. This will make it a, oops, not quite. Let's make it a little bit easier to work with. Okay, and we're just going to do the same thing. So after this, Command V, and these guys should be tabbed, and oh, you know what? Actually, I should have these next to each other. So let's do this. I'm gonna have 2 columns in this one row. I think that actually makes more sense. So we're going to go ahead and close a div here. We'll back this up. Okay, so that'll be one column. And then we'll do another one, div class, and then column dash s dash, let's say 4. Okay, and Command X. And let's see, that's the row. So right here, Command V, and we will tab that in. And then these both need a tab in. Tab, tab. Oh, okay, cool. Try that again. God, I hate freaking Macs. Okay, tab, tab. Okay. And if that's 4, then this one's going to need to be 8 because it has to equal 12, right? So 8 and 4, just so that it looks a little bit different. Let's save that and let's see what that looks like. Command R, and yay. Okay, so it's not going to look like it's going to do too much because right now, if you look, regardless of where these are, I might have done columns, but regardless of where they are always going to be 100%. Because if you look at here, I just have it set that they're 100%. So it's not actually going to do anything yet until we set up the other styles, the other column adjustments. Okay, so that's fine though. It's still functioning. That's all I was really looking for. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and add the other size things. Okay, so what we're going to do is we will start with our smallest one. So it's going to be at media only screen and the minimum width. So it has to have a minimum width of 600 px. Okay, which means that it needs to be at least 600 in order for this to run. Okay, so we're going like this, and then we're going to go ahead and put in the columns here. So I'm just going to copy and paste it in. But this is it. Basically, the same thing we already wrote up there. Command V like this. So dot column 1s width, boom, 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 boom. But now what we do, instead of having them all in a row like this and saying they're all 100, this one's actually going to say one is 8.33 because that's 1/12. This is 2/12. This is 3/12, 1/4, right? And then if we go to 6, which is half of 12, that'd be 50%, so on and so forth. Okay. Yeah. So now if I save this and we go here and refresh it, let's see. I think it's not really working. Let me double check. Boom, 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 dash. Let me see. How did I write these? Oh, I did it backwards. I gotta do the numbers first. Whoops. I'm bad at teaching. Okay. S. Delete 4S and S. And we'll say 6 and 6. Boom, 6. S, Command S to save, and Command R. Let's see. Alright, so that's not really doing too much. Alright. Accidentally added a thing here. There we go. Now it's working. Okay. So now you can see that basically this is halfway, right? So 6 and 6. And then we did 8 and 4. So now when I go like this, you could see it's going like that. You'll also notice that my background image went away. I'm not sure why that keeps happening. I didn't change anything up there. It's like exactly the same. So, but for whatever reason, something's going on with that. So, well, I'll come back to that and see if I can figure out why that would randomly change. But now what you'll notice is that it looks like this until it gets below 600 pixels. Once it gets below that, it will stack. It'll revert back to this. Okay, so this is its default, if you will. But once it reaches a minimum width of this, it'll switch to this. And we're basically just going to do that for each one of the sizes. And I'm just going to copy and paste in there. But you can see if you go up in the thing, you'll see it there. So Command C, Enter, Command V. And I'm just going to grab this section and hit Shift Tab, Shift Tab. And I'm going to tab this in. So it looks like that. And we'll go like that with this one. So Shift Tab, Tab, Tab. And I'm going to grab this section and tab, just so everything's nested nicely. Okay. So now what we do is we have one for medium, which basically means a minimum width of, so once it gets up to 768 and above, it's going, it will run these, which is exactly the same as this. But what I can do is if I put, 4 for small, but then put 8 for medium. And when it switches to this, it'll switch to this one instead of that one. So basically, it'll run this CSS if it's this. It'll run this CSS if it's this. And then lastly, the large one will run this if this. Okay. So we're just going to save that. We can go back here. And we're just going to add them to this. So I already have one for small. Let's just do one for large, let's say. So I'm just going to do space. Oops, we'll go up here. So one for large, I'll do space, and I'll do COL dash, let's say 4 dash L, okay? And then here we'll just do COL dash 8, because it's got to equal 12, dash L. And then I had what, 8 and 4. Let's just say we do COL dash, let's say 6, I guess, dash 6 dash L, and we'll just do the same thing down here. Oops, gotta put space, COL dash 6 dash L. Okay, and we save that, bring this back up, Command R. So you'll see, boom, it'll switch to this, and then it will switch opposite. So see how it's 50-50? And then when I get to a certain point, it'll snap over, and now this one is 2/3 to its 1/3, because this is an 8 and this is a 4. And you switch to 6 and 6, when before this was 8 and 4. Okay? Alright, so now we have, we basically have 3 stages. I have this large stage, I have this small stage, and then I have, like, you know, itty bitty. Alright, so yeah, looks pretty good. Now, if I add another class, I could do one for mediums as well, but I'm kind of lazy, and you probably don't want to watch any more of this than that anyway. So, all right, so I think we've got the responsiveness more or less working. So I think what I'm going to do next is switch over and add some responsive elements, like making this responsive and making the background responsive, which doesn't currently exist, and things like that. All right. We'll do that in the next video.